Well, from the very beginning, 1997, I've been working on symbols, or trying to find symbols that express the different biomechanical functions or processes that I've been noticing and trying to communicate about. The reason why I've been looking for symbols or trying to find symbols that express these things is because when you try to write out these biomechanical processes in English, you can spend, you can write out a single movement in 3 pages. It just takes forever. So finding a symbol that would express that would cut down on the documentation time, but also give me a reference for communicating that to somebody else who understands what the symbol represents. And this effort has been going on since the inception of the Access Syllabus 20 years ago. Well, almost 20 years ago. In 2017, it will have been 20 years. Now, the reason why I want to share it with people is because I think that, once again, I don't want to replace Laban, and I don't want to replace Escol or BART or any of these other notation systems, but I do think that there's too few of them, that each one is going to bring a different perspective, and some might be more friendly to people than others. For me, other systems have less appeal. Maybe that's because I've been working on my own and I'm more familiar with it. But I think that what I've done is to create something that's relatively intuitive and easy to grasp. So why, for me, also the effort of writing things down has been very useful, because when I write something down, I realize what I didn't know about what I wrote about. And so it's not just what's on the page, which is educational. It's everything that wasn't recorded, that is a reference, or that has a reference. And this, for me, has been really useful as an educator, because for example, when I write a summary about a classroom experience, or when I try to articulate a philosophical point, then I get feedback on everything that I didn't say. And this informs my next attempt to try to articulate myself on the subject. And writing down things about movement has been very helpful in trying to communicate my experience of it. And I've been able to parse out what I think are transitional moments which dictate the outcome of the other things. And that makes it possible for me to actually assist someone in sorting out the reasons why they can't do something, and in removing the inhibitions to being able to accomplish something that they previously could not do. So in the space of, a few minutes, I can actually help someone to do something that they never did before, and to do it with a feeling of ease. And so that's what this system, this movement notation system has really done for me as a teacher. Then I feel that it's been very important to be able to go back and look at my records for movements that I wrote down, and to be able to understand what I did back then. And looking at a written phrase, I understand the notions, the concepts that I was working with. And that allows me to re-embody it today with my current understandings and wishes and desires about how I'd like to move. Whereas oftentimes when I was taken into a company, a dance company, they would sit me in front of the video, and I would learn the repertory from the video. I'd have to copy it. And I would have a specific person moving in a specific way, and I would have to learn that quality. And so writing is, for me, leaves a lot of space for interpretation. When I look at musical notation, for example, it doesn't dictate the quality. There's still a room that I have, a space that I have for a personal understanding. And I think that this is also something that's really valuable about writing. It's like when you read a novel, you imagine the characters, the colors are your own, the instances, the tones of voices, right? A lot of the screenplay and the redaction is your province. Sometimes it's dangerous to go to a movie that's been made from a book, right? Because then somebody else's fantasy dominates your own. So that's why reading is such an important thing. Reading and writing, I think, are really sort of a removed and protected nexus space for creativity. So I think, in the field of more obvious ideas, we tend to think that language is the most appropriate expression. But if you really pay attention to letters on the page, the individual letter is really just an attributed symbol. It doesn't really mean much in and of itself. It's something that we've decided has that significance. And we still have to do the same thing with any symbolic language. So in that sense, the human movement alphabet still suffers from that arbitrary attribution of meaning. But what I'm trying to do is retain references to other cultural symbols. For example, the center of the body is symbolized by this very common symbol that's used in Europe for city center, or the symbols that are used for timing, accent, and rhythm are taken from elevators and CD players. And I think that even the body parts are recognizable symbols. So this is something that I'm trying to retain. Arrows and trajectory indications and all of these things are pretty much understood just by looking at it. And my test is, can I show it? Can I show a written phrase to someone who's never seen it before and have them understand something? Yeah, I think it's a very interesting project. I don't. For a long time, I've been working on it by myself, and every time I would come to the meetings with the other teachers, I would say, well, let's practice a little bit. And they were like, and feeling maybe over-challenged by the complexity, but also not really understanding why. And I would, more often than not, I would hear the question, why do we have to do this? Is this really necessary? But more and more I feel like people are understanding the value.